My name is Jordan Murdock, and I'm from Fisher River Cree Nation, Manitoba. I've been in post-secondary for 4 years now, and this is my final year. And over the years, I've seen a lot of my friends and acquaintances from different reserves struggle with post-secondary. I want to find out why some of our students are struggling and failing, because as a part of the fastest growing people in Canada, I think it's our duty to find out why we're not succeeding as much as we should. When weeding a garden, it is important to remove the roots or the weeds will continue to fester and spread. By eliminating the roots, the weeds themselves are eliminated and the garden is able to flourish and prosper. It must also be provided with the proper growing conditions and environment as well as the proper care and nutrients necessary in order for it to reach its full potential. Similarly, we need to try venture to the roots of our problems to find some solutions that can help us increase our success rate in the post-secondary realm. Why aren't we achieving the success we all want? What are the roadblocks and obstacles in our way on our path to success? Why has our garden become weed infested? In my graduating class in high school, there was just over 30 of us that had earned our diplomas, and by the third year of post-secondary, there was only 3 of us that had either completed our program or were continuing on. This number still amazes me today, and I hope that I will find out some reasons why this happens and what we can do to increase our success rate. My first stop on this journey is to Assiniboine Community College to talk to Cecil Roulette, the Aboriginal post-secondary counselor, and Kevin Tachan, a student at Brandon University. Both of these men have been involved with the post-secondary life long enough to know what students go through.
At the beginning of September, you can tell the new students because they all look scared. They come in here and they got that fear in their eyes. Sometimes it's not being organized. When I first started working here in 2001, one of my cousin's daughters started coming to the college, and she was like one of the top, I think she was a top student in her high school. And she got here and she had a difficult time.
I think having your goals is important for a lot of these students that are going to university now. They got to know what they want to do, and they gotta chase it down, but they need supports there for them. Like counselors, elders, whatever they need to try to help them get through school, because we face different challenges than other students. The same things are happening in the college and in the university as relationship stuff. Either relationships with a boyfriend or relationship with a girlfriend or a relationship with their parents, or they're not in a relationship with their parents, or a lot of people find themselves alone. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I see that challenge a lot of our people today is finding that place where we belong.
Often it is assumed that when someone struggles in a form of education, is that it is due to the person's lack of intelligence. Though this is true in some cases, in general, the belief is unfounded. A person who is adjusting to a major change or finding it difficult to find companions to relate to is likely to see this strain on their personal life to have a direct impact on their academics. If I had only graduated from my high school and did not take a university prep course, I don't think I would have made it this far in post-secondary. I know that I would have struggled my first year, and I wouldn't have felt comfortable asking for help, and I wouldn't have known what to expect when it came to knowing what needed to be done to live in the city and adapt to a new education system. I met up with a few students from Peguis, Manitoba that were taking courses at Brandon University. Shiloh and Kyle were great people to be around, and finding out what they went through when they first started university strengthened what I knew about some of the issues our people face.
I know that I didn't really ask for help because it seems like, I don't know how it is for other people that go in there, but I know like I'm talked to like a kid. Like every little thing is explained. I mean, it might be good for some people, but I don't need to know how to like spell the and stuff.
My first semester I didn't do very well, but this semester starting, I'm keeping up with my work. I'm just not satisfied with my marks that I had last semester. I thought that, I can do this later, it's actually not that hard. And then you just start letting the work pile up and then piling up, and then you got a week left until exams, and then you're shitting your pants because you can't finish all your work and study for what's on your exam sheet. So I'm pitching in as much as I could.
During the course of my interviews at Brandon's two major post-secondary institutions, I noticed there are both internal and external factors that cause students to struggle. Often, the problem is not thinking thoroughly about what one wishes to do and picking the wrong program. For others, it's budgeting. For some, the struggles are academic, and many more are not being properly prepared for post-secondary. Racism is much less of a problem for us now compared to years ago, but many of our people still feel uncomfortable around other races because we are usually only surrounded by our own. Being from a tightly knit community makes you feel you can't live without your friends and family. This has been my experience, as well as that of many others. My next stop is Winnipeg to talk to two guys I know who have had some issues in post-secondary. Zach took his first year of university at the University of Manitoba, but is now at the Northwest Law Enforcement Academy. Corey is the second person I talked to, and he is a former ACC student.
I thought with a degree in my hand, I can acquire a better posting. I can acquire the upper hand. I had a very good run, but as the months boiled down to its last term, I started beginning to a form of deterioration where I would. It's not about missing school or skipping on class, but it was more about not retaining the information. A self-consciousness thing of just thinking, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I taking this class?
Yeah, when I went home in March for spring break, my dad told me that he's gonna die. So that kind of messed me up.
Hearing Corey's retelling of the events that led him to drop out of school made me think that his dad would have wanted him to continue his education and find a job doing what he loved. As I discovered later, this is not necessarily true all the time. In some Aboriginal households, parents might not stress the importance of education. Many of these particular parents are still scarred by their educational experiences in boarding and residential schools. The parents are wary and untrusting of education, and in turn do not see the value of acquiring things like a university diploma. I wonder to myself how different my life might be had I not come from a supportive family who encouraged me to better myself. Agnes Cochran is the post-secondary counselor in Fisher River, and she has seen all the issues students go through firsthand on the visits she regularly makes to check up on the students' progress.
I see students go through many challenges, yes I do. Actually, it's really hard sometimes to see the students. One of the hardest things I think is meeting with our students, especially when they've just recently moved away from home and they're so very lonesome and alone. Like, we always battle at our school in getting parental involvement. And I think part of the reason is that parents, some of those parents don't see school as important as it should be, or they're turned off from school because of the experience they had in post-secondary education. So, I mean, in boarding schools. So they may be a little leery about supporting their students in school because of their own personal experiences. And I think, you know, parental involvement is very important, even at the post-secondary level.
The second person I came home to talk to was Kelly Selkirk. Kelly is the Enhancement Year Program Coordinator in Fisher River at the Verna J. Kirkness Institute of Higher Learning. The Enhancement Year Program is the Fisher River Board of Education's attempt to increase the success rate of students by offering a program on reserve that will better prepare students for college or university.
About 7 or 8 years ago, our Board of Education came to a group of us in the department and said, in the organization, and said, we think that our post-secondary students are having problems with success at the post-secondary level. And they said, first of all, can you find out if that's true, and then come back to us and let us know maybe what are some things that we can do about that. So we looked at our data for 5 years prior to that, and we said it was true that our post-secondary students were having some difficulties being successful in college and university. There's no program that's going to solve all of your post-secondary student issues, and there's no program that's going to give you these amazing results. But that's true of all education. What we're finding is that each community has to find out what their students' needs are. And that's what you base your program on, because it's going to be very different. Our community is a Southern First Nation. It's going to be very different for a Northern First Nation. It's going to be very different for a First Nation outside of our province. I think what's important is that you base it on what your students need.
I learned a lot from Agnes and Kelly. When I met up with each of them, I always took in new information and insights that I had not had before. If academics are the issue, I think having a year of pre-college or university on the reserve can help students ease into the post-secondary lifestyle. I know that sometimes our problems are not always concrete. For some people, academics can be the issue, but for others, it's the soft skills that are needed. Essentially, for learning to take place, there have to be lines of communication that are open between the students, instructors, and fellow classmates. The initial culture shock that comes with moving away from family members will not always be there, and after it passes, students can continue to learn and go into what they love doing. My last stop on this journey is to talk to someone who has been through years of post-secondary and made it through successful. Harold Cochran is from Fisher River and has gone through years of law school and is now a partner at the law firm DRC and Deakin in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
I'm sure any student coming off the reserve will have the experience that I had. The culture shock, the loneliness, maybe not feeling as smart as everyone else. And the thing I would offer there is that that will pass. You know, it took 1 full year for me for that to pass before I finally landed on my feet, so to speak. So if there's any words of advice, it's just being determined, knowing it would pass, and eventually you'll adjust.
Taking this journey to find out why a lot of my people struggle in post-secondary education has been both intriguing and revealing. Part of me knew the answers I was going to find, and others I was not really prepared for. I believe that we have found areas that we could improve upon that might help us increase our success rate in the future. For one thing, academics aren't always the issue, but when they are, it's usually because of a lack of preparedness that can cause us to fail. Putting a pre-college or university program in place might help with this for some people. For others, it's the life skills that one needs to get a better grasp of to help them better communicate with people they are unfamiliar with and have never seen before. Being able to open lines of communication and develop healthy relationships has gotten me this far, and I think that alone can be a great help to my people. Others might just need the right support systems to give them that extra push to go on. I believe the best is yet to come for my people. But if we are to succeed and flourish the way I believe we can, we must think of the areas in which we need help and overcome our challenges.